What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand. Boom! Flight team stand up! What a year to remember. It is now December. Try not to get scared. Rare and disturbing EAS alerts explained by Chillin' Scares.
EAS, or the Emergency Alert System, is the national panic button. Their robotic tones are designed to cut through any broadcast and grab a viewer's immediate attention.
Okay, don't laugh. I can't believe I have to actually admit this, but bro, there was a time maybe when I was about like 9, maybe 10. Like these little EAS things used to scare me. Now, especially if you're from Florida, you can relate to it, bro. You're going to get at least one EAS thing a month. It's just depending on if you actually are there watching the TV or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you just know how bipolar the Florida weather be, bro. You can have like a hint of tornadoes with like, you know what I'm saying, some hurricanes or just like hella rain and stuff like that. So most of the time, like the EAS that I would see, bro, it would always be like, the National Weather Service reported that there is a tornado. It sounds something exactly like that, bro. I don't know why, dog. This shit just sounds and looks so demonic, bro. Nigga, imagine in the early 2000s, Ed, Edd n Eddy, bro. Top 5 cartoon of all time, by the way. If you don't like it, we can never be cool, by the way. Anyway, look, imagine watching Ed, Edd n Eddy and that EAS thing come on out of nowhere, bro. Like, come on, dog. That was not sweet. I ain't gonna lie. If anybody saying that they did not get scared by the EAS thing one time in their life period, you're just acting too hard, bro. It's okay. This is a safe place. Stop acting too. Look, 2026 is about to come up, bro. I'm gonna let you know this right now, bro. Stop all that wannabe tough guy act, bro. Like, we know you got scared because I got scared, bro. We know you got scared at least one time, so it's a safe place. You can admit it. But yeah, bro, I ain't honestly want to admit that, but bro, yeah, I got scared of these little EAS things at least 3 to 4 times when I was about like, 9 years oldish.
Followed by an evacuation, seek shelter, or stay in place message depending on the situation.
Oh no, I don't know about to watch this. No, this might be the scariest thing of the year. I'm not even joking, dog. Fuck, why did I click on this shit? This gave me some trauma, nigga. Nigga, you see, at least I don't be telling fake stories, nigga. Nah, that shit, bro, that was some PTSD. Nigga, my eyes getting watery and shit right now. This ain't no joke, nigga. I don't get, bro. Anybody that got a problem, bro, you is a wannabe tough guy. Stop acting tough. You sit up here and tell me this you tell me this not scary, bro. I don't know if I can do this video, man. There's some trauma right here, bro. I'm serious.
The National Weather Service in Morristown has issued a tornado warning for Anderson.
These alerts were first implemented during the Cold War with something called CONORAD, a network designed to deliver presidential messages during a potential nuclear attack. From there, they evolved into the Emergency Broadcast System, and finally the modern EAS in 1997, a system that has saved countless lives ever since. And while it's primarily used for things like Amber Alerts and flash flood warnings that many are familiar with, it can actually do a lot more. In fact, most of its critical alerts have either never been used before or were only activated a few times under very specific circumstances. These are the rarest and most disturbing EAS alerts and what they represent.
Hazardous materials warning.
The civil authorities have issued a hazardous materials warning for Chillin, WA and Douglas, WA, beginning at 12:22 p.m. and ending at 1:22 p.m. KHQ.
This alert is used when harmful, non-radioactive substances are released into the environment, especially when they pose an immediate threat to people nearby. These substances can come from any number of sources, from a truck carrying a dangerous chemical getting into an accident on the highway, to a factory or a chemical plant catching fire and spreading toxic smoke to its vicinity. That said, the most important part of this particular alert is the message that comes after the attention-grabbing tone, as it usually includes information on what to do next. The correct action depends entirely on the type of hazard. If the substance is airborne but not highly dangerous, authorities may issue a shelter-in-place warning.
Scary,
this includes telling people to stay away from the affected area. They are also
Bro, imagine you going to the grocery store and they get that message on the screen, like
to stay inside, lock all windows and doors, and immediately turn off any system that pulls in outside air, like air conditioning or heating.
What?
This helps create a sealed environment to keep contaminated air out. One such incident...
That's crazy. It's just, what if it was something super, super serious like that, and somebody's not watching them, paying attention to the TV or paying attention to their phone, bro? You gotta turn off the AC too? Bro, that's like one, like, literal, like, simple mistake that could cost you your life.
On August 28, 2024, when the Rochester Fire Department responded to a semi-truck rollover at the interchange of Highway 52 and Interstate 90 at around 7 p.m. They rushed to the scene expecting a fire, but instead came face to face with something far more dangerous. As it turned out, the truck was hauling chemicals that were now spilling across the highway, including sodium chloride and hydrogen peroxide. While not very dangerous in small quantities, the sheer volume of the spill and the risk of airborne contamination forced authorities to issue the rare hazardous materials warning. People in the surrounding area were advised to shelter in place and, if possible, stay upwind of the crash site to avoid any potential health risks. Fortunately, the situation was able to be resolved without any casualties. However, there are times when a shelter-in-place warning is not enough. In the more severe cases, the alert can also include an order for evacuation. This is issued when the hazardous material is an immediate health risk or potentially explosive and is also spreading uncontrollably. An example of this occurred on the evening of February 3rd, 2023, when 38 cars of a freight train derailed near East Palestine, Ohio.
What?
Most of these derailed cars were carrying hazardous chemicals that quickly spread throughout the surrounding area.
What?
5 also contained a chemical known as vinyl chloride, which caught fire and resulted in a massive fireball, spewing toxic smoke everywhere.
Wow.
Given the scale of the situation, authorities quickly issued a hazardous materials warning across New Palestine, along with an evacuation order for all homes within a 1 to 2 mile radius of the derailment site. Thousands were forced out of their homes, and many were left with no choice but to relocate permanently. And while no official numbers exist...
Man, hell nah, bro. That's gotta be some lawsuit or something, bro. Can you imagine you just cop a house, like, right there, bro? And then that just, like, rare, unexplained thing, because, you know, that's just not something that just happens every day. That's something, like, it's just, like, a rare, like, natural, I mean, unnatural, like, you know, sense of luck. What, bro? That's
health toll.
That ain't even fair, dog.
Reported troubling symptoms like rashes, bloody ears, and rapid hair loss in the months that followed.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you, fam. Yo, I'm at front door to the government. Bro, imagine you just chilling at the crib, bro, and you got them hazardous toxins that got in the air, and he just said one of the symptoms you get is rapid hair loss. Bro, imagine you wake up the next day bald, man. Yo, nah, bro. I'm at front door to that man, bro. I need every penny the entire United States has. No bull, bro. No, yo.
Said,
no
things
bullshit,
would have been far
bro.
worse if people hadn't received the alert.
And I need interest too, like
evacuated in time. Some could have also dismissed the alert as fake and stayed home, which would have likely cost them their lives.
Bro, imagine that too.
While not common, false
nuclear power plant. That's what it's
EAS
called.
alerts still happen more often than they should. Like in September of 2016, when following a train crash, the WKTV network in Utica, New York displayed a strange hazardous materials warning reading, "Civil authorities have issued a hazardous materials warning for the United States, effective until September 29, 2:16 a.m. Could you on a train? Wait for further instructions." Luckily, before the alert could spark mass panic, the station issued an online statement confirming their network had been hacked and that the warning was fake.
Wow. See, if this is like a real one, I don't know if it is or not, but at least when at the Florida EAS system stuff, at least the stuff, bro, like they made it scary with it being like all blacked out screen and stuff, or like creepy like guy voice in the background. Like, you feel me? Like, this is like, it has some colors to this, bro. I wouldn't have been scared of something like this.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a The message you are hearing is part of a nationwide live code emergency alert system capability.
The National Emergency Message is the highest level alert within the EAS. It serves as a direct, unblockable line of communication between the President of the United States and the American public. Most importantly, this alert would only be activated during catastrophic events that threaten the country on a massive scale. These include events such as an imminent military attack, a coordinated act of terrorism across multiple cities, a complete breakdown of national infrastructure, or worst of all, a nuclear strike headed for the US mainland. If the national emergency message were ever used for real, it would mean the country was facing an unprecedented level of danger. Though it's important to note that unlike other EAS alerts, this one doesn't include all the details in and of itself. Instead, it's designed to get the public's attention, which is then followed by a live address by the country's president or his second in command, explaining the situation and what to do next. And because of its importance, every TV and radio network is required to broadcast the national emergency message without exception. They must immediately stop all regular programming and transmit the presidential message. Even after the address is finished, they are not permitted to resume normal programming. They're instead required to broadcast follow-up emergency information like the locations of closest bunkers in each area in case of a nuclear attack. Now, the national emergency message...
that would be scary as hell, bro. Like,
its predecessors have been accidentally activated multiple times in the past. The most significant of these incidents occurred on February 20, 1971, when the older emergency broadcast system, which served the same purpose, was accidentally triggered on TVs and radios across the country.
This station has interrupted its regular program at the request of the United States government to participate in the emergency broadcast system serving the Fort Wayne area. During this period, many radio stations will remain on the air, broadcasting news and official information for areas assigned to them. This station will remain on the air and will serve the Fort Wayne area. If you are not located in the Fort Wayne area, you should now tune your radio to other stations until you hear one which is broadcasting news and information for your area.
This happened because an operator mistakenly sent the actual emergency action notification tape instead of a routine test tape. The alert caused immediate panic and confusion as it was during the height of the Cold War between the US and Soviet Russia. Many listeners assumed the worst, which at that time was a nuclear strike by the Soviets. Fortunately, the mistake was caught quickly and a correction was issued in less than an hour of the haunting alert.
Something went wrong also this morning with a regularly scheduled routine test of the emergency alert system of the North American Air Defense Command. And as a result, a number of radio stations across the country left the air briefly.
Aside from routine small-scale tests since then, the US government has never faced a situation serious enough to require broadcasting this EAS alert. That said, the one incident where it would have made sense to issue the national emergency message was during the terror attack on September 11th, 2001. Which begs the question, why wasn't it? Now, as far as I could find, the US government has never given any official reason for why the EAS alert designed for national emergencies wasn't used during a national emergency. However, based on everything we know about that day, we can make a few educated guesses on what that reason might be. The first of which is that a presidential alert wasn't necessary at that time. Think of it this way, the national emergency message is generally reserved for giving the citizens information that only the president can have, like an imminent military invasion or an incoming nuclear strike. But with the attack on September 11th, everything was already being covered live by TV and radio news stations across the country. Everyone was keeping an eye on the events as they were unfolding and providing the latest updates. Issuing an EAS alert during this time would have only interrupted this coverage and potentially endangered lives by stopping people from receiving the most up-to-date information. Another possible reason, and the one that I find most likely, is that the president and his staff simply didn't have the time to issue the national emergency message. With how the attack unfolded, their top priority was to contain the situation and stop it from escalating. That meant working with the FAA to ground all flights, mobilize first responders and rescue teams, and determine the best course of action moving forward. Not to mention the fact that in the initial chaotic hours, there was no clear actionable message to deliver to the entire public in the first place. But while it wasn't used on September 11th, the US government has kept the national emergency message alert fully operational in case the need for it ever does arise.
Law enforcement warning. Seeing a big ass TV like that. See, at least, bro, with these damn EAS, bro, I was like, didn't have money like that growing up, so bro, we had like small TVs like me and my sister would share. At least it wasn't like on no big screen like that, you know what I'm saying? Cause yeah, bro, I had nightmares still to this day.
p.m. December 14, 2020, the Lake County Sheriff's Department Transportation Division was notified that a 22-year-old man accused of murder escaped from a private contracted transport van while being extradited to Lake County from Texas.
That's crazy.
The law enforcement warning is, at its core, a public safety message that's issued for urgent, usually small-scale local incidents where law enforcement needs to convey critical information directly to the public. Issues like jailbreaks, riots, or some localized terrorist activity like a bomb being discovered. The alert you just saw, for instance, was about 22-year-old Leon Taylor. He was arrested December 2nd, 2020 for the alleged murder of 52-year-old Daniel Nietzsche, a 17-year-old boy named Nicholas Pisani, as well as several armed robberies. However, the arrest took place in Texas, even though his crimes were committed in Indiana. So, on December 14th, the Texas police placed him in the back of a private transport van and extradited him back to Indiana. The transport van was supposed to be secure, but the driver made a critical error. He pulled into a McDonald's drive-thru in Gary, Indiana to get food at around 2 p.m. Leon saw this as an opportunity to escape. And after somehow opening the van's door, he slipped out and was realized what had happened. The escape
What you think he was getting too, bruh? Now he had to be getting that big. I was gonna say Big Mac. He probably the transporter's probably getting a quarter pounder with cheese, bruh, large fry, probably a Sprite, extra ice, bruh. Imagine, bro. He's smelling them crispy, well done fries through the window, bro. The dude is escaping in the back.
He slipped out and was gone
in a
before
random
the driver
part of
even
like the
realized
states.
what had happened. The escape triggered a massive multi-agency manhunt.
Bro almost got ran over by that red car.
Indiana State Police and officers from Chicago all joined the search for
I wonder, did he get his food?
Escaped murder suspect. But when an immediate search of the area turned up nothing, the Indiana police issued a law enforcement warning EAS alert. This served two purposes. It warned the public in the surrounding neighborhoods of the danger, while also turning thousands of residents into potential witnesses who were now on the lookout for a man resembling Leon's description. Leon must have seen the alert as well, since he fled from Gary not long after and was eventually arrested a second time back in Chicago. Another similar high-profile case occurred in August of 2023 when convicted murderer Danilo Cavalcante escaped from prison in Chester County, Pennsylvania. He was convicted of first-degree murder on August 16th and was given a life sentence without the possibility of parole. But less than 2 weeks after this conviction, Danilo was back on the streets. He managed to escape the jail on August 31st by climbing a wall and running away once outside the perimeter.
Boy, what
a day later,
fuck?
he was seen robbing a house in the nearby town. However, despite law enforcement combing through every corner of that town, Danilo was nowhere to be found. There were several sightings in the wooded area surrounding the town, but he always managed to slip away from the police's grasp. Then, on September 11th, he robbed another house and stole a firearm, instantly raising his threat level. This also forced the Pennsylvania police to issue a law enforcement warning, urging residents to lock their homes and stay inside until the perpetrator was apprehended, which is the typical instruction that accompanies this type of EAS alert. The manhunt for him eventually came to an end on September 12th when he was spotted hiding in the woods with the help of a helicopter-mounted thermal camera. Both of these cases highlight the ideal use cases for this rare but vital alert, as it can help inform the public.
This dude was doing all that shirtless with some damn short shorts and boots, Ugg boots, bruh. Yo, no, like, come on, this gotta be studied. Look at this shit, man. This dude has some short shorts, no retwist, and these look like probably like some Ugg boots or some just boots, bruh. This is a straight Grand Theft Auto, like GTA created player, bruh. That you just see when you just in random servers that just be just shooting and just blowing things up for just no reason, not letting you have fun in the server. Yo, you gotta be scared of niggas like him, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
As it can help inform the public and prevent criminals from causing any further harm to a community.
You think he took a shower?
If you are hearing this message, you are in a life-threatening situation. Do not turn off your devices at this time. The following message has been transmitted at the request of the California Department of Public Health. A catastrophic accident truck involving a truck carrying anthrax has occurred on Highway 101, 2 miles south of San Luis Obispo.
Of all the alerts in the emergency alert system, few are as unsettling as the BHW, or Biological Hazard Warning. This is the official warning.
Can y'all let me know, dudes, do these EAS alerts still exist today? Cause bro, that shit sounds scary.
For the release of a dangerous biological agent into the environment, and not just something along the lines of a bad flu season or a minor disease outbreak. The BHW is reserved for extreme, life-threatening biological events that pose a severe and immediate risk to public health. And while most situations that would trigger a biological hazard warning are fictional, one very real possibility is bioterrorism, such as someone releasing a weaponized pathogen like anthrax or smallpox into a crowded area. Another possibility is a catastrophic accidental release. High-security biomedical labs around the country handle some of the most deadliest known pathogens. A major failure at one of these facilities, like a building fire, could potentially release one of these deadly agents into the surrounding community. In either case, the purpose of this alert is to...
I'm not trying to be one of these like conspiracy things, but the fact that that easily can just like happen, do you see the government doing that like on purpose in the future for like population control? Like, cause bro, like you did you just hear them? They said that they have like so many like different pathogens that they test for like different. I'm assuming they do that because like they're trying to figure out how to cure certain diseases and stuff. So they basically have all these diseases in a facility. And you know natural disasters happen, fires can happen, a spark plug can blow, whatever, this and that. Yo, that would be some crazy ish, bro. Like,
provide immediate, actionable instructions to the public to limit the spread of the biohazard and save lives. If you were to ever hear this alert, the audio message instructions that follow the tone would be absolutely critical. The instructions would vary depending on the specific hazard, but the most common directive would likely be to shelter in place. This would involve going indoors immediately, sealing all windows and doors, and shutting off any ventilation system like air conditioning or heating to prevent airborne pathogens from entering your home. That said, if a threat is localized to a specific building, an evacuation of that immediate area could be ordered as well. The alert could also include urgent public health directives, like instructions to boil water, avoid certain foods, or information on where to receive emergency medication or vaccines for the released disease. Given the severity of such an event, it's a relief that a real biological hazard warning has never been officially activated in the United States. So, for now, it's nothing more than a purely precautionary alert for a worst-case scenario that has yet to happen.
That's a great point. There is kind of a theme with footage.
Law enforcement situation. Avoid area of I-94 and Highway 67 in Waukesha County.
This is one of the broader alerts in EAS. It acts as a critical catch-all for any imminent, life-threatening hazard to the public that doesn't fit into a more specific category like a tornado or a hazardous materials spill. In other words, whenever a civil danger warning is issued, it's in response to an event that poses a significant and immediate threat of death or injury to a large number of people. Now, this might sound similar to the law enforcement warning we covered earlier. However, while they can overlap, the key difference is scope and source. A law enforcement warning, or LEW, is typically issued for a specific criminal event, like a manhunt, an active shooter, or a police standoff. Its focus is on a direct threat from a person or group. A civil danger warning, on the other hand, is often broader. It's used when the danger is to the civil population as a whole, from sources that can include major infrastructure failures, extreme civil unrest, or other unclassified threats, where the primary message is about public survival rather than a police action. Because a CDW is so versatile, the instructions in the audio message are absolutely critical and require immediate action. These could range from an order to evacuate a town due to an impending dam break, to sheltering in place during violent riots in a city. The message will always contain specific, life-saving instructions tailored to a unique danger at hand. And while its most famous use was a terrifying mistake, the civil danger warning has been used correctly for many real-world emergencies. In May of 2019, for example, authorities in Logan County, Arkansas issued a CDW to warn residents that a flood bank on the Arkansas River was about to fail due to record-breaking floods. The alert urged people in the affected area to evacuate immediately before their lives were put at risk. In a more unusual case, in 2011, a CDW was issued in Wisconsin during a historic blizzard. This warning wasn't just about the snow. Instead, it focused on telling people to avoid driving on the heavily icy roads. These examples show the intended purpose of the CDW, to warn of extreme danger and provide clear instructions. But the alert became infamous for a very different reason, in an incident that exposed the terrifying potential of a false alarm. On the morning of January 13th, 2018, every person in the state of Hawaii was notified of a CDW alert that appeared on their phones. It read in all caps, "Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill." For the people that received it, this was a notification that a possible nuclear attack was on its way and that they had only minutes to live. And since tensions between the US and North Korea...
Hell nah, bro. Nah, hell nah. What you mean? Nigga, imagine you get an alert like that? What?
Notified of a CDW alert that appeared on their phones. It read in all caps, Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill.
Hell
For the people that
nah.
received it, this was a notification that a possible nuclear attack was on its way and that they had only minutes to live. And
Bro, what? Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. If that's like a situation where it was like an error, somebody hacked their ish or whatever, bro, man, that's something where I would want to move the next day. That's
since
like,
tensions between the US and North Korea were at an all-time high,
What?
widespread panic engulfed the islands almost immediately. People abandoned their cars, scrambling to find any shelter they could. Parents put their children into storm drains, desperately trying to shield them from the impending
my
blast.
gosh, that's so
For
sad.
38 agonizing minutes, the entire state believed it was about to be annihilated. Fortunately, the alert was a false alarm. But the story of how it happened is more complex and disturbing than a simple case of someone clicking the wrong button. Official investigations by the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency and the FCC later revealed a catastrophic failure of procedure and judgment. The incident began during a routine drill. However, the script for the drill itself was poorly designed and very confusingly included the language, "This is not a drill." This error led one specific employee to believe that the training exercise was in fact a real missile attack in progress. Convinced that a genuine threat was imminent, the employee deliberately chose to activate the alert. After sending the alert, the same employee was instructed to cancel it, but they reportedly became unresponsive. Another employee had to intervene to finally send the retraction message a full 38 minutes after the initial warning was sent.
Wow.
That said, even with such disastrous failure, the civil danger warning remains a crucial part of the EAS system for when it is truly needed.
Nah, bro, that's some scary-ish, bro. What are you like? I want what y'all right now in the comments. What are you gonna do if that, like, you know, knock on wood, whatever, like, God forbid, whatever, like, bro? They said that, like, from the message that they got it, they literally could have had minutes to live. Like, dude, you don't know what could happen. Volcano warning. You know, some volcanoes in the U.S., like the Yellowstone, I think it's in like Montana. Yo, y'all niggas need to know, bro, if that volcano ever explodes, everybody in the U.S., like 85, I think 90% of the U.S. is obliterated. So you better hope that thing don't ever explode. And bro, hey, you can't, don't come at the messenger, but bro, from what I've researched, I've seen a few things saying that stuff is pretty light. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be long due from quote unquote erupting or something, unless those are just like false sources. But they also said the same thing with like Mount Everest and stuff like that. Mount Everest never erupted since like 500 BC or something, right? So
This message is transmitted at the request of the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Lassen Peak is at imminent
wait, Cali has volcanoes?
risk of eruption. All residents within 20 miles of the volcano are advised to evacuate immediately.
This is a highly urgent alert issued by the U.S. Geological Survey and its volcano observatories when a volcano shows clear signs of an imminent eruption or is already erupting. Its primary purpose is to alert the people in the path of danger and instruct them to take immediate action. The specific dangers a volcano warning addresses are some of the most destructive forces in nature. For those closest to the volcano, the alert warns of lava flows and pyroclastic flows, which are superheated avalanches of gas and rock that can destroy everything in their path. But the danger isn't limited to the immediate vicinity. A VOW also warns of lahars, which are volcanic mud flows. These are fast-moving slurries of rock, mud, and water that can rush down valleys and riverbeds, wiping out
person just
communities
recorded
miles
standing
away
there?
from the eruption site. Then there's the most widespread danger of ashfall. Volcanic ash is not like smoke. It's made of tiny, sharp particles of rock and glass. It poses a major health hazard when inhaled, can
my
cause
gosh.
buildings to collapse under its weight, and can disrupt power and water supplies over a vast area. It's also extremely dangerous for aircraft, as the fine particles can melt in the heat of a jet
Damn,
engine and cause it to
17,000 flights canceled due to volcanic ash.
fail, hindering any rescue.
I didn't even know that
efforts.
many flights get in the
Because of
air,
these varied
bro.
threats, the instructions in a volcano warning are almost always to evacuate immediately. Viewers are also instructed on the designated evacuation routes they must follow to stay as far from danger as possible. For areas that are further away but under threat from ashfall, the instructions could include shelter in place, which means staying indoors, closing all windows and vents, and placing damp towels at the bottom of doors to prevent the fine ash from getting inside. Though, the safest option is still to evacuate immediately. One of the most significant recent examples of VOW being used to save lives was during the 2018 eruption of Kilauea on Hawaii's Big Island. In early May of that year, the volcano began a major eruption, not from its summit, but from a series of massive crevices that tore open the ground directly inside a residential neighborhood known as the Leilani Estates. The USGS...
Bro, I think another underrated thing that people don't be talking about, I know this has nothing to do with it, but like I just thought about like with dinosaurs, not past the part where like they say like the meteors, the Big Bang Theory, a meteor came through, shifted the weather or whatever, maybe things was extra colder than what it was supposed to, things in the ice age, whatever. Bro, I also believe, bro, volcanoes people don't really be talking about. Like they definitely played a huge part. Bro, like just imagine, because look, at one point in time, Mount Everest was an active volcano. All right, so just imagine as big as Mount Everest is and every other volcano that's around the entire world. From what I can remember, if I'm not mistaken, dinosaurs was pretty much everywhere when the Pangea was going on, right? So with that being said, bro, just imagine the dinosaurs that was like, or any other animals around there in that times of civilization, or well, civilization means like humans or something, right? Anyway, bro, just imagine like the dinosaurs around during that time that was like around just like at least like Mount Everest. Bro, can you imagine like this? Bro, look at the way the lava is just obliterating like all these forests and all these beautiful trees, the houses and stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm assuming this is probably within like 30 seconds of it just like you know, dripping around this part of the bro. Volcanoes do damage, bro. And then the lava from it causes fires that can stretch, and then the ashes and everything, you can't inhale it. It's literally lethal.
The USGS and Hawaii Civil Defense immediately began issuing a series of volcano warnings. These alerts were broadcast over the EAS and sent to wireless emergency alerts to residents' phones, ordering immediate evacuation as lava and toxic sulfur dioxide gas spewed from the earth. For months, these alerts provided critical, life-saving information, guiding residents away from new crevices and advancing lava flows. By the end, this eruption had destroyed over 700 homes and displaced more than 2,000 people. The Kilauea eruption is a perfect example of the rare volcano warning EAS alert working as intended. However, this alert is also responsible for one of the most bizarre false alarms in EAS history. On July 31st, 2022, a bit after midnight, residents across Nebraska were shocked when their local TV and radio stations began broadcasting an official volcano warning. But instead of causing panic, the warning only created confusion, since Nebraska has no active or dormant volcanoes in its territory.
Right.
As it turned out, the alert was meant for a wildfire, but the sender accidentally selected the volcano warning code instead.
Wow.
It was an honest mistake that was corrected shortly after. Though
dude, can you imagine, like, and I'm pretty sure it like came close to either happening, and there's definitely employees that, but like, bro, besides the fact, bro, can you imagine somebody being stoned as hell and then they accidentally press like the wrong button when they meant to press like, maybe it's gonna be super stormy or just gonna be just, you know, whatever, something small, and they accidentally press like the nuclear bomb thing or just like some missile or something like that, bro. Like, bro, that whole establishment, that's low-key a lawsuit.
That the volcano warning EAS alert.
I'm assuming if you get even a job like that, they probably drug testing your ass like every week or 2 weeks. They had, I feel like certain jobs, bro, they on your ass, like for real. Like you not even able to drink wine probably.
Was fully functional on the
You can't even drink soda, but
US as well.
They want you on point.
Yellowstone ever erupts.
Shelter in place.
There is an active shooter currently in Juniata and around the Endbrass area. Shelter in place immediately.
What?
Shelter in place.
Bro, that'll be my reaction.
Lock all windows and doors.
Huh?
This is for the Juniata area and 2 miles east of Juniata, Nebraska.
Unlike other
That'll
alerts
be my
that warn
reaction
about a specific kind of danger, the shelter-in-place warning is a more generalized instruction. It's the order to immediately get indoors and stay there, issued during an emergency when evacuating would actually put you in more danger. The core purpose of the alert is to keep people safe inside a secure location until a threat outside is passed. A trigger for this alert could be something like a chemical spill or an industrial accident where the outside air could be toxic. In these cases, the alert is crucial for preventing people from breathing in contaminated air. It's also a common command during law enforcement emergencies, such as an active shooter situation, a manhunt for a dangerous fugitive, or a police standoff. Here, the alert keeps civilians out of harm's way, allowing officers to contain and resolve the situation without risking public safety. Even in cases of civil disturbance or the threat of a major explosion, the shelter-in-place alert can protect residents by keeping them securely indoors. That said, what makes this alert so versatile is also what makes it so disturbing. Receiving this alert could mean anything from a lunatic running around the streets to an ongoing terrorist attack in the city. But regardless of what the reason might be, a shelter-in-place warning is not a suggestion. It's a precise command with immediate steps you must follow, including getting all family members and pets inside, locking the doors, turning off air intake in case of an airborne chemical contamination, and waiting for the all clear from the authorities. Failing to follow these steps can result in injury or even death in some cases, especially when the alert is about something as dangerous as the active shooter that appeared in Nebraska on August 11, 2021. The situation unfolded in the Juniata region of Adams County when the Nebraska PD received a 911 call at around 10:15 p.m. about someone unloading a firearm out in the streets. When the officers arrived at the scene, the shooter, 35-year-old Brooks Hacker, doubled down and got into a standoff with the police. With no other choice, authorities issued a widespread shelter-in-place EAS alert for the Juniata residents, all while trying to calm things down with Brooks. But after a several-hour-long standoff and one of the officers getting shot in the arm, Brooks was eventually brought down by a SWAT team at around 2:35 a.m. He was reportedly trying to shoot as many people and officers as possible during the confrontation, which shows how vital the shelter-in-place warning was. And while it may have startled awake many residents, this rare EAS alert was ultimately a lifesaver for some residents of Juniata.
Wow, man.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the San Luis Obispo Police Department. A site emergency has been issued at the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in San Luis Obispo, California. A breakdown in safety systems has the potential to cause a large release of radioactive materials into the air.
A nuclear power plant meltdown is one of the most devastating man-made disasters that can happen right after nuclear bombs.
Yeah, hey,
That
no,
said,
power plant, yo, that stuff I've been on. They educated us since like I think elementary school, bro. One thing you would never ever want no accident to happen, bro, is at a power plant. And I believe everywhere, like anywhere you go in the world, state, country, whatever, has a power plant. That's where all the like power, you know what I'm saying, is supposed to be made, and electricity and stuff, right?
You just saw
it's
is a recreation. It's what a nuclear power plant warning, or NUW, would look and sound like, created using the official parameters of the NUW Emergency Alert System code. Fortunately, a real NUW for a major emergency has never been officially activated in the United States. This alert is reserved for a dangerous incident at one of the nation's 50-plus nuclear power plants. But to fully grasp the destruction such an event could cause and understand the importance of a nuclear power plant warning alert, we need to look at the catastrophic Chernobyl disaster of 1986. When the reactor meltdown happened, Soviet authorities initially concealed the scale of the accident. There was no public warning system. For days, as a lethal plume of radioactive material drifted over Europe, residents of nearby Pripyat were not told of the true danger.
What?
This failure to warn led to countless deaths and long-term health problems that could have been mitigated. The NUW exists to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. However, if a nuclear power plant failure does happen, the NUW alert would be issued to every TV, radio, and siren within a 10-mile radius of the incident. The official broadcast would also include one of two commands. The first is to shelter in place, go indoors, shut all windows and doors, and turn off ventilation to prevent radioactive particles from getting inside. The second, more serious command is to evacuate, where authorities will direct people to leave the area using specific, pre-planned routes designed to avoid the radioactive fallout. The fact that this system has never been used for a real emergency is nothing short of a blessing. However, that doesn't mean the system is immune to human error. In 2015, an alert was mistakenly sent out over the EAS regarding the Indian Point Energy Center in New York. The message, which reached viewers in New York and New Jersey, was about an unscheduled, non-emergency shutdown at the plant. While the shutdown itself was real, the situation was not a danger to the public, and the use of the powerful emergency alert system was a mistake. The error caused unnecessary alarm and confusion, serving as a reminder that even for the most serious of alerts, false alarms can and do happen.
Crazy stuff, man. 911 outage emergency. Wait, they have a such thing like that? A telephone outage emergency? Can you imagine? Yo, that'd actually be literally detrimental. Dead ass. Like, bro, if they actually just like every telephone line that you could just think of, cell phone, everything, was just like out for like an hour, bro, no, that'll literally be an apocalypse. I never even came to think about that. It's just one thing, because, you know, they always have these things like, oh, like, you know, the internet, you know, you go down or this and that. But bro, no, a telephone like outage, you gotta think about like even the emergency systems, like, bro, the crime will skyrocket, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like emergencies, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not gonna be able to reach nothing, nobody.
A 911 landline outage has occurred in Butler County. Residents should call 724-282-1221 or go to your local fire, police, or ambulance station to report an emergency.
One thing every rare EAS alert we've covered so far has in common is that people experiencing them still have a way out. They can all call 911 for help. For instance, if someone is stuck at home due to a shelter-in-place alert but they need immediate medical assistance, they can more than likely request an ambulance by calling the emergency service. However, when the 911 telephone outage emergency alert is issued, that option no longer exists. This alert is a critical warning that the 911 system in a specific area is down. This outage can happen for a number of reasons. The most common is simple physical damage, like a construction crew accidentally cutting a major fiber optic cable which can sever 911 services for an entire region. But failures can also be more complex, stemming from a software glitch at a 911 call center, a targeted cyber attack designed to overwhelm the network, or even the sheer volume of calls during a major disaster like an earthquake. In any of these cases, the alert is the crucial bridge to getting emergency services back in operation, as it often includes a temporary alternative 10-digit number to call for help. Even then, many might not hear the new number or fail to note it down in time, at which point they have no way of calling for help during an emergency. To understand the profound danger of a 911 outage, we have to imagine the most terrifying moment someone can experience. A loved one collapsing from a heart attack, waking up to the smell of smoke coming from a fire burning the ground floor, or hearing the sound of an intruder breaking in the back window. In that moment of pure terror, one thing people have been taught to do since childhood is to dial 911. But when this alert is active, instead of a dispatcher's reassuring voice, they get a busy signal or a recorded message saying the call cannot be completed. That is the true horror of a 911 outage. And the sad thing is, something exactly like this happened in April 2014 when a massive multi-state 911 outage occurred affecting 11 million people across 7 states. The cause was a single preventable coding error in the software at a data center in Colorado that managed call routing. Wow. For 6 hours, this glitch blocked over 6,000 emergency calls from ever reaching a dispatcher.
What?
It's hard not to imagine many of these thousands of unanswered calls leading to completely preventable deaths and life-altering injuries, especially when even a relatively short outage can be devastating. Like in August 2024, when the 911 system in Washington, D.C. experienced critical problems after a software update was not done correctly. About 10 minutes after that update began, a call came in about a 5-month-old baby who was not breathing. The family was trying everything in their power, including constant CPR to keep the infant breathing.
What?
Unfortunately, by the time first responders received the request and rushed to the scene, it was already too late.
What?
Due to the short time span of this outage, the 911 telephone outage emergency alert and the accompanying temporary number weren't broadcast to the public, leaving the child's family with no way of getting help in time.
No, man. Damn, man. Prayers to that family, bro. Damn, that was the saddest one, bro, out of this one, man. That was, man.
Emergency Alert System. We interrupt this program to bring you an important message from State Civil Defense. A tsunami warning is in effect for all Hawaiian islands. At 7:46 p.m. Hawaii time, an earthquake measuring 8.8 magnitude occurred near Honshu, Japan. A series of tsunami waves could cause damage to all coastal areas on all islands. Tsunami waves will begin arriving in Hawaii at 2:59 a.m.
A tsunami warning is one of the most urgent large-scale alerts in EAS. It's issued only when a potential life-threatening tsunami is imminent or already on its way. Though the actual primary trigger for the alert is a major undersea earthquake, typically of magnitude 7.0 or greater, which can displace a massive amount of water and generate a series of powerful waves. These waves can travel across the ocean at the speed of a jetliner, making early warnings absolutely critical for coastal communities. The danger isn't even just one big wave, but a series of waves that can arrive over several hours, causing catastrophic flooding and destruction. If a tsunami warning is issued, the first and most important course of action is to get more information and prepare to evacuate. The EAS broadcast will usually give a direct and unambiguous command: evacuate immediately to higher ground. Localized alerts could also include tsunami evacuation routes to allow as quick of an escape to higher ground as possible. This system has been a critical tool for saving lives. A powerful real-world example occurred after the catastrophic magnitude 9.1 earthquake off the coast of Tohoku, Japan in March 2011. The quake generated a devastating tsunami that struck Japan. Sensing the incoming devastation, the U.S. National Tsunami Warning Center immediately issued tsunami warnings for Hawaii and the West Coast. Low-lying coastal areas in Honolulu, California, and Oregon were evacuated. While the tsunami that reached the U.S. was much smaller, it still caused millions of dollars in damage to harbors. However, thanks to the timely EAS tsunami warning and evacuations, there was no loss of life in the U.S.
Wow, man. Hey, man, this was a crazy one, man. It was a mix of scary, crazy, sad. Which one, you know what I'm saying, woke y'all up the most?